I'm David Santiago Joder. This is my third partial project of reading. My ID number is 180-10113. And this is my analysis. My book is Frankenstein, and we are going to start talking about the author, that is Mary Shelley. Well, Mary Shelley was born on August 13th in 1797 in London. At 16, Mary left her home and country with the poet Percy Shelley. With mom, she had started a relationship despite being married. The couple traveled to France and Switzerland. They married in 1816 and had an only son named Percy Florence, who died at the age of 13 due to a storm. Mary Shelley died. Finally, Mary Shelley died in London of a brain tumor in her sleep on February 1st in 1851. Her last wish was to be buried with her parents. They rest in St. Peter's Cemetery, Bournemouth. My analysis is going to be based on the protagonist of the story, Victor Frankenstein. But first we have to know what was the inspiration or the the inspiration why Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein and the inspiration of Victor Frankenstein. Well, Mary Shelley wrote the story of Victor Frankenstein due to Beth on the night of June 16 in 1816. She met Lord Byron and others at a villa on the outskirts of Geneva. Locked in the house by storm, horror tales were read for entertainment. Mary then imagined Frankenstein inspired by a nightmare she had at 18 age. She wrote the novel after a bet with Byron, as she herself recounted in the prologue to the 1831 edition of Frankenstein. Mary Shelley based her character on a Scottish doctor who performed experiments with electric shocks on animals. This is what Christopher Golding says in his doctoral thesis published in the latest issue of the Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine. Victor Frankenstein, a calm and intelligent young man, philosophical and educated, determined, with great aspirations and curious. With this character, it reflects the time when the Industrial Revolution took place, in which scientists had the greatest apogee. He's considered the modern Prometheus, since the author highlights the consequences that playing the role of God could cause with the creation of a new character. Also, as greed can blind you to the limit of losing everything. On the other hand, the remorse he felt was nothing more than a feeling of guilt, since he was a doubtfully involuntary accomplice of the crimes that occurred in his social circle. Now finally we have the talk questions. The first one is, to what extent does literature shape our perceptions, views on life? Well, I think literature is a way of expressing our perceptions of life, expressing them so that someone else can also read them and share the same opinions, or even someone else gets to change or add something to those perceptions. Talk question number 2. What is the proper function of literature? To capture a perception of reality, to teach or uplift the mind, to express emotion, to bind the community together, to provoke reflection on social change, doing work, not expressing other ways, working, perceptions and writing to teach others and elevate the minds of others. As today, all literary elements or resources to write, for example, a story, has its steps. Those steps, someone else captured them and we learned from it. With literature, we can teach a community to make a social change. Literature is a different way of expressing oneself.